Hey there guys, how's it going, and welcome to a new Call of Duty Ghosts gold gun video where I go out and earn that gold camo for all the weapons in Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer. With my experience from getting that gold camo as well as taking a look at the statistics of the weapon, I give you an ideal creator class setup and give you a good basic scenario for when the weapon is best used, tell you its strengths, its weaknesses, and all that kind of stuff. So today we're looking at the AK-12, a very popular assault rifle, and for good reason. Let's take a look at the recoil patterns here. Here you can see me firing. Just going to show you a couple of different distances away to show you the difference in the recoil, and there wasn't actually much difference in the recoil between these two distances. This is kind of medium range, kind of not too far away actually, so short to medium range there. And as you can see by the recoil patterns, for the most part this is a gun that has a lot of horizontal recoil, so side to side recoil. It doesn't really kick up too much, so this is very good for getting people at long range. However, you know, there is still that horizontal aspect to it, so sometimes it will kick you off target and it will be slightly annoying. But in general, a low recoil gun. Now I'm going to suggest an attachment that's going to help with that, but I'll go into that later in the video. But at first I actually remember picking up this weapon and noticing it bouncing a bit, and I wasn't hitting my targets, and I kind of dropped it and thought, well, you know, I'm going to just use that at a later date. But when I revisited it, you know, it's extremely popular now, and you know, it's for good reason it's popular. It is very, very high damage, and it will serve you very well in a lot of circumstances. For the most part, it's probably one of those guns where you're going to want to be aiming down the sight before you reach an enemy or before you encounter an enemy, because it's going to allow you to be more accurate. And in general, that's kind of thing that goes with all assault rifles. You know, aiming down sight is kind of the key to winning gunfights with assault rifles, and this one especially so. So anyway, what is the damage for this weapon? It is a 3 to 4 hit kill, and it will 4 hit kill at any range, so it's not as if it ever turns into a 5 or 6 hit kill. And I find this very deadly with Deadeye, this weapon. If you put Deadeye on your default class and you're a kind of person who reckons they can rack up quite a few kills without taking a death, and especially if you're playing a game mode like maybe Domination, then it's possibly worth putting on. If you don't know what Deadeye does, it adds a 10% chance of every bullet doing 40% more damage, and that percentage chance of more damage goes up by 10% up to 5 kills. So if you're on a 5+ streak with Deadeye on, you have a 50-50 chance of every single bullet doing 40% damage, and that basically means that most of the time this gun will turn into a 2 to 3 hit kill weapon once you have a 5+ streak going on, which makes it extremely deadly, and is why you see a lot of people running Deadeye on this thing, and why it's very effective for getting the chem strikes and all that kind of stuff, because in the hands of a very good player, that is an extremely deadly thing. Now, the downside of this weapon, I suppose, is it does have one of the slowest fire rates of the assault rifles, and this means it just takes longer to get your bullets onto target. So you could say that it's not so good at close quarters, but to be honest, if you've got high accuracy and you've got good accuracy, it's going to work out well. And I suppose I'll put it like this: if you're the kind of player who you find yourself quite often not hitting the first shot when you press the trigger, then this might not be the gun for you. Maybe go for something with a faster fire rate like the FAD. But if you kind of find yourself in situations where you're able to predict where the enemy are going to be, and your gun is up and ready for a gunfight as you run into the encounter, then this is going to drop people extremely quickly. I mean, you can see in a lot of these clips, when it's a gunfight where I don't really go off target at all, they drop very, very quickly, and it's hard for practically any of the weapons to compete with this at all. Now, the attachments that I recommend putting on this, there's 3 really. I like grip, I like suppression, and I also like extended mags. Extended mags probably not necessary. This does have a very good starting ammunition amount, so that's not necessary, but does have a slow reload. So going with extended mags is going to mean longer between reloads, which is going to mean less time of you being caught out. So that's a good reason to put that on. Or you could not go with extended mags and put sleight of hand on, or if you're absolutely crazy, just don't have sleight of hand or extended mags, but just be very careful with your reloads. The other attachments I use on this gun are suppressor and grip. The suppressor, you guys all know what it does. I didn't really tend to find it affected the range of this weapon too badly. I mean, technically it gives you a 20% less effective range, so you'll get a 3-hit kill over a shorter range than you would without one. But I like the idea of staying hidden. I like trying to get high streaks with this, with a specialist setup in blitzed or domination. So for the most part, staying off the radar, plus having that kind of ability to just see a little bit clearer with the suppressor on really helped me, and I pretty much always go with that. I know some people who don't go with suppressor on this weapon, but personally I always like to put it on. And finally, I go with grip, because although there isn't much recoil on this weapon, the fact that it is a horizontal recoil makes it behave a little bit strangely. We're used to a lot of guns in Call of Duty to kicking up vertically and kicking up vertically into the left maybe. So the horizontal recoil, although it's not too much, it can be tricky to handle. And when you put that grip on it, it just makes it that slightly smaller area that it kicks around in. I'd say it's about 30% smaller, which is going to allow you to get more bullets on target. And, you know, when would you ever need that? And the fact, why not go for a grip anyway, because this isn't Black Ops 2. It's not like you're using one of your pick 10 on an attachment. You can go for 2 attachments, so grip is a very good one. I don't really like the red dot sight and similar optics on this thing. I just like this iron sight, really clear. The weapon's nice and low. There's a really small area and there's lots of space around the iron sight when you're looking down it, so people are still very easy to see with this. Although it's not the best iron sight ever, it's still very good and very manageable, and you'll see most people running this with the iron sight. Not really a need for an optic. In a way, I kind of find the optics make it a little bit more difficult for some reason. Maybe it's just the recoil pattern of this gun, but make it very difficult. So overall, this is definitely a top tier weapon, said to be many, you know, the best assault rifle up in the game, up there with the FAD, the Remington, or maybe even Honey Badger, whatever you think is one of the best weapons in the game. But this is definitely up there for consideration. If you haven't used it, definitely try it out. Remember to be aiming down sight, try out my attachments, and yeah, just go out there and start beasting people with this thing. It's an absolute monster, although there's a lot of people out there doing it already, as you'll probably notice if you've been playing online. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to check out my channel for more of these gold gun videos, and if you're watching this on Machinima Respawn, go subscribe to my channel, link down in the description below, and I'll see you next time.
Focus. Specialist bonus achieved.